Happy New Year! Thought I would do a little something different today and actually just sit down and have a cup of coffee, have a cup of cocoa, kind of let you guys know a little bit what's going on in our lives, kind of what's going on in the background, and kind of what some of our ideas and plans are for the new year. For those of you who don't know me, my name's Cece. My husband Kirk and I homestead in the big beautiful state of Montana. And like several of you guys, 2024 was a hard year. In fact, ours started a little earlier than that. But towards the end of 2024, we felt like we've got some really solid answers, and we feel like we can really just kind of settle down and start looking forward again. And part of that comes with, what does the homestead look like from here on out? So to kind of fill you in a little bit, Kirk's job was pretty unstable there for a while. And our homestead, we were gearing up for it to be an income maker, or at the bare minimum, at least cover our expenses for our animals that we did have. And that is why we ended up deciding to milk 2 cows instead of 1. That is why we decided to really dive into raw milk sales. I was even selling cheese, selling yogurt, and really trying to figure out how we can use the homestead as income. Now, since then, my husband's job has become much more settled, and there is a very good possibility that we are not going to need the income from the homestead. Which brings us to a turning point. How much of the homestead do we continue to do? And how much work are we going to put into it? So why do I talk about this stuff? This is something that's very hard to show what happens in the background, even like in person, because these are the type of things that you have to have sit-down discussions and try to figure out. And so we are at a turning point, trying to figure out what our next steps are. And the biggest factor we need to figure out is our dairy cows. We have 2 of them. Currently, neither one of them are giving us milk right now. One of them will have a calf here in about a month. The other one will not have a calf until May. And so I've had to go back to buying store-bought milk, and so having 1 cow at all times is an absolute must for us. But what we need to decide is, how much milk do we want to be bringing in? Do we want to continue the raw milk sales? Or do we want to sell 1 cow, keep 1 cow? Or do we want to keep both cows and allow the older one to become a nurse cow? In Montana, a lot of ranchers calve, meaning their herd of, anywhere from 200, 300, 400 head of mother head, will all have calves early spring. Some of them will be starting to have calves about now. Some of them will continue to calve on in through April, potentially even May. And so there's a thing called a bum calf. A bum calf is when the mother either cannot take care of the calf or passes away. Basically, a bum calf is an orphan calf. Beef cows do not produce enough milk to raise twins. So if there's a twin, one will get pooled. Sometimes you can do what is called grafting, and that basically encourages a mother to adopt a calf, and then she raises that calf like it's her own, whether her calf died or something like that. But oftentimes when you are having multiple hundreds of calves being born, you are going to end up with orphan calves or mothers without a calf. And so a lot of times the ranchers, instead of trying to buy milk replacer and hand feed a calf, they will just sell a bum calf. So we've thought about maybe buying some bum calves, allowing this 1 mother cow of ours to raise multiple calves, and then in the fall when we wean them, we can take them to market, because beef prices are really, really good right now. And so we could make some income there without having to do a lot of extra work. That's an option. That's something that we're thinking about. So long story short, we're at a turning point. Kirk's job is good, it's secure. We get to decide what we want to do instead of feeling like we need to push for an income. And it's a very welcoming place to be in. We're so happy and blessed that we can finally just breathe a little and decide what we want to do. And that also brings us into what are some goals that we want to do other than figuring out what's happening with our dairy. I would like to have pork in the freezer again. So that means raising some pigs. We've done it in the past and I would like to do it again. Garden is still #1 priority. Raising meat birds is still going to happen. The greenhouse needs a lot of TLC, so hopefully that can get taken care of. I'm even contemplating the idea of buying grow lights and actually starting some seeds, a lot more seeds, a lot earlier on. But again, before I do that, I gotta make sure that the greenhouse is up to par so that they can go into the greenhouse instead of be living in the basement with the grow lights. So I just wanna share you guys, I wanna share this with you so I know there's other people who are trying to figure out what to do in a homestead. A big factor is that we need to think of is how much time do we have? Kirk is a full-time ranch hand, which means he's working 6 days a week, sometimes 7. How much of the barn chores can he continue to do, and how much of the barn chores do I need to take over? I also homeschool. So do you understand why it's hard to show this to you? Because so much of it is trial and error. So much of it is him and I having sit-down conversations and saying, what do we want to do? How does this work? And going that direction. But these are also very real parts of homesteading. And so I like to be open and honest and let you guys know there's the good and then there's the bad. And so this year, the word that I picked, which I don't normally do, but I picked a word this year, and the word joy just kept coming back to me over and over and over again. And to me, joy is the opposite of stress. And so what brings us joy? What fills us up versus what do we have to do to make ends meet? What do we have to do to make this work? Let's put things on the table and go, this makes me happy. This brings me joy. Making cheese, learning to make cheese and playing around with cheese brings me joy. I want to do that. But it's things like that that I want to continue to learn, and I want to continue to fill myself up. Not saying we're running away from hard work, but what I'm saying is what is going to bring us joy as a family, as our faith grows and stretches. What can we do to eliminate more and more stress from our life and do what we love to do? So homesteading is not going anywhere for us. We're still going to do it, but we're going to try to do it as a lifestyle and just have fun with it instead of it being a forced thing to get production, to get an income. And just thanks for tuning in this long. And if you have a word for the year or some goals, drop them down below. I would love to hear from you. And if you ever have any questions about why we do what we do, or just questions in general about homesteading, go ahead, drop them below, and maybe one day I'll be able to do a video addressing the questions that you have. So have a great one, and until next time.